and everything's so much worse. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you guys are all doing really well. In terms of today's video, we are going to be doing yet another ranking video. Some of you guys might remember that a few weeks back I did a video called Ranking Celebrity Quarantine Blunders, and it was basically just ranking different fuck-ups that celebrities had had during quarantine so far. If I'm being honest, I wasn't really expecting to do a sequel to that video, mainly because I didn't think people could get any more dumb, but I forgot about influencers. They're just constantly lowering the bar, aren't they? I think the general trend during quarantine so far has been a group of people with like varying degrees of fame pissing off the general population by either not following quarantine or not wearing a mask or spreading misinformation or just downplaying coronavirus in general, and then a hellstorm ensuing, and then the YouTuber or celebrity that's in trouble in the first place jumps on Instagram Live and starts crying. I don't know why. And I just really wish they'd just hire a publicist, or if they have one, fire them. I'm sure if you guys have been online in the past few weeks, you've probably noticed that a lot of influencers who were very vocal to their fan bases like a couple months ago that they needed to wear masks and stay inside are now getting a lot more lax, even though in some of the areas they're living in, the situation with coronavirus hasn't gotten any better. And for some reason, they're not getting caught because like someone else took a photo or video of them and then posted it. They're posting this stuff themselves. I think that in itself is almost a topic that deserves a whole video, because I feel like a lot of times with like these influencer scandals or big issues that happen with influencers, almost every single time it's a result of the influencer in the scandal or drama or whatever just shooting themselves in the foot. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. For now, we'll get to the rankings, which I do want to preface before mentioning the rankings that these are technically sub-rankings for like an umbrella term of just being brain dead. So the variance of brain dead is subject to debate, which is why we're all here, but at the end of the day, all the people we're going to be talking about today are indeed brain dead. Before we start today's video though, I did want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, which is Simple Health. Simple Health is an online birth control prescription and delivery service, which means that they make the whole birth control experience a lot more personal, discreet, and convenient. I want to note here that Simple Health is not a replacement for routine checkups with your doctor, but it is a way to make your birth control experience less of a pain. How it all works is you'll start by filling out an online health profile and answer a few questions that will help determine which birth control is the right fit for you. From there, a doctor will review your profile and determine which brand to prescribe you with, and since they can prescribe over 100 brands of the pill as well as the patch or ring, your prescription will be totally personalized and based on your own preferences. At that point, all you have to do is sit back and wait for your birth control to be delivered to your door on your own schedule. Simple Health also only offers trusted brands of birth control, and licensed doctors actually help design the product and review every single patient, so you don't have to worry about someone prescribing you with like essential oils or something. And the nice part is that the packaging is super discreet, so if you have like nosy neighbors or something, you don't have to worry about having "this is definitely birth control" plastered on the package, because there won't be any labels on it. I personally think it's a great idea because it makes the whole birth control experience a lot more convenient, and once you set it up, it's just one less thing to worry about because you can just have your prescription arrive on schedule every single time. That way you can just go about your business instead of having to upend your day because you just realized you ran out of your prescription, and now instead of doing what you were gonna do during the day, you now have to go to the pharmacy. And on top of that, it's affordable. Simple Health accepts insurance, and birth control is free with most insurance plans. But if you don't have insurance, pills start at $15 a month and delivery is free for everyone. So if you want to check out Simple Health for yourself, go to www.simplehealth.com/Casey or use code Casey at checkout to waive the complete care fee and get started today for free. Thanks again to Simple Health for sponsoring. Again, check that link out in the description box if you're interested, but otherwise, let's get into the video. So we're going to be starting from the bottom tier and then working our way up to the top, and the first tier is the disappointed and actually surprised tier. I think this tier kind of speaks for itself. It's basically reserved for any kind of YouTuber that I personally didn't expect to see in any kind of coronavirus related drama, and I'm pretty surprised about it. Next, we have the mesh face mask from Etsy tier. I kind of feel like the mesh face mask is like a symbol for like the misinformation that's been going around about coronavirus right now, because I know one of the biggest, or I guess most talked about like acts of misinformation has been people thinking they can wear those mesh face masks and that they're protecting themselves and the people around them by wearing them, which they are not actually doing that. So this tier is definitely reserved for any YouTubers who have been sharing misinformation on their platforms. The tier after that is the unchecked superiority complex, and this is reserved for any kind of YouTuber who for some reason seems to think that because they have followers, They're above the law. After that, we have the Jeff Bezos light tier, which is basically just reserved for any kind of YouTuber who is prioritizing money over public safety. And the final tier that we're gonna have in the ranking today is the MRS DOPPO tier. And I'm sure some of you guys are wondering, Casey, what the hell is Miss Dobo? Which is not actually pronounced that way. It's pronounced MRS DOPPO, and that's because it's my own personality type that I've created. If some of you guys are familiar with like that personality type thing where like people get branded as like INFJ, I don't know, any other personality type other than INFJ, but once you get that kind of combination of letters, it describes your personality type, and MRS DOPPO actually stands for my relevancy solely depends on pissing people off. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Now that we have the ranking settled, it's time to get into the actual YouTubers we're going to be ranking today. And unfortunately, since this video is talking about YouTubers fucking up, Jake Paul is included. I will say though that Jake is slightly unique from the rest of the YouTubers we're going to be talking about today because he doesn't just have one coronavirus/quarantine related blunder, but he has two. The first time was a few weeks ago when he went to a Black Lives Matter protest in Arizona, and instead of protesting for like what everybody else was protesting for, he just started looting. Obviously this pissed off quite a lot of people because it was quite clear that his intentions of going to the protests were just to live out this weird Joker fantasy that he had instead of actually fighting for what everybody else was there fighting for, which is just embarrassing when you actually think about what everyone was fighting for in the context of those protests. Well, Jake Paul was literally just there to loot a mall. The second situation is a little more recent, and it all kind of kicked off when videos started coming out of Jake Paul hosting some kind of party at his house, and the videos that were coming out about this were either posted by attendees or his neighbors that were obviously concerned that this massive gathering was happening in their neighborhood in the middle of a pandemic. It came out later that apparently the reason for the party in the first place was because they were shooting a music video, which I don't think makes it any better. If anything, I almost think it's going to be worse because we're going to be subject to another Jake Paul song. But obviously the biggest issue is the intentions of just having this big gathering. Like in these videos that are coming out, there's some people that aren't wearing masks. There's some guy that's like swinging from a construction machine, which sounds like a fake stereotype for small town America, if anything, but I guess people actually do that even after they moved to the big city. Needless to say, there were a lot of people pissed off about this, and it wasn't your typical, like, just contained to social media outrage, which is usually what happens with Jake Paul unless it's like super big. Traditional news outlets were covering it. I believe the mayor of Calabasas also condemned him for it. Like, a lot of people were pissed off. Considering all of this and looking at the rankings, I'm sure that a lot of you guys are guessing exactly where Jake Paul is going to be going, and that is none other than the MRS DOPPO tier. Because at this point, I almost feel like Jake Paul is the definition of a person whose relevancy solely depends on pissing people off. Next, we have Jake Paul's ex, fake wife, real wife, Tana Mojo. Tana, for some reason, was at Jake's party, and she's actually the one that posted the video of that, like, country bumpkin Curious George swinging from that tractor thing, which, why would you do that? Seems like most of the complaints with Tana are just that she can't stop partying in the middle of a pandemic. But come on, guys. Cut her some slack. She's Tana Mojo. Not even the fear of contracting or infecting others with a deadly illness can stop this party animal.
Slices, the wig jumped and the tea flew. Period.
Beyond Jake's party, she ended up going to a surprise birthday party for a TikTok star whose name is either Larry or Lorray. Like, I guess this all kind of fits her brand of being like a party animal and makes shitty decisions, but still calls herself an empath, even though her past really, really doesn't scream empath at all, but who am I to judge? Now, in terms of ranking, I'm sure that we all know exactly where Tana Mojo is going, and that is right beside Jake Paul in the my relevancy solely depends on pissing people off tier. Next, we have Adeline Morin, who is actually a Canadian YouTuber. I wish she wasn't, though. She's making us all look like shit. For those of you who don't know who Adeline is, she started off on YouTube quite a while ago, and she did like that saturation to 200% DIY kind of content, but nowadays she kind of focuses on like vlogs and beauty and lifestyle kind of content. The first instance that she got in shit for, I'm going to tread on this topic very lightly because the vlogs that people were accusing her of this stuff in are now deleted, and the only information about it that's left online is just people tweeting at her about it at the time. Basically what happened is Adeline has two places that she stays at, and one of them is in LA and the other is in Canada, and so she had traveled back from LA back to Canada, and right now the rules here are that if you're traveling from anywhere in the world and you're coming back, you have to self-isolate for 14 days. After that, you're good, but like you have to do the 14 days. So allegedly, very big allegedly here, guys, there was something in the vlog that had convinced people that she hadn't been self-isolating in those 14 days that she was supposed to. I did try to find that part of the vlog that people were basing their assumptions off of, but as I mentioned before, the vlog has fully been pulled from her channel, and for the most part, the people that are confronting her are keeping it very general, and they're not saying exactly what part of the video would tip them off. But regardless of this being alleged, I just don't really understand why she would risk putting a clip that people would assume that she isn't self-isolating like she should be in a public vlog for everyone to see, especially considering that, like, by law, you have to do those 14 days or you get fined. Now, in this situation alone, I wouldn't have included her in the video, mainly because there just isn't enough 100% definitive proof that the allegations of her not self-isolating are true, or at least that definitive proof isn't available anymore. But there is another situation that happened with her, which is why she's in the video, and that is that she decided to take a trip to Greece in the middle of a pandemic. Now, technically Greece's borders are open, but as of right now, Canadians are heavily suggested not to travel unless it's absolutely necessary. And I don't know if it's just me, but fucking off to Greece for a mini vacation doesn't sound like essential travel. This is definitely one of those situations where, like, I can't wrap my head around how you rationalize this at all. There's just so much risk involved, like, not just for you, but the people around you. And it's one thing to go to Greece right now, but it's another thing to go to Greece and post like crazy about it. It's just so frustrating to see people who are just being so ignorant and are being so loud about being that ignorant. Like, dude, this shit is embarrassing. If you want to travel right now and you want to go to Greece, have at it. It's technically legal, but why don't you just open a private Instagram or something where you can just post about it there instead of broadcasting it to your massive audience who are not in the same situation as you, because different countries are going through different stages right now. Like, I feel like it's one of those situations where so many YouTubers and especially Instagram influencers get in this stage where, I don't know if this is just when you become really successful at what they're doing, but they seem to think that every part of their life, like, needs to be content because their fans must want to see every aspect of their life. I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that this situation is a good example of something that, had it not have been posted, she would have been like, fine. If she wanted to go to Greece, like, I mean, technically it's legal, go do what you want, like, whatever, it's not my life, but by posting it, she just makes herself look super insensitive and that hurts her image. And she doesn't seem like a YouTuber that's typically in controversy. So I just don't understand why she would post it and then piss people off and make herself look terrible in the process just because she wanted Instagram content. It's also just kind of funny to me that she literally just released a song called Nobody Cares About Your Instagram, which, it's poetic. So in terms of ranking, I think I'm going to put her in the unchecked superiority complex category, mainly because I feel like traveling to a different country right now and just broadcasting that to everyone, and your reasoning is that it's in the name of content, kind of speaks for itself. Next, we actually have James Charles, which I am super surprised that he's even being mentioned in this video because he just went through that huge kerfuffle, whatever the hell just happened a couple weeks ago, and basically stayed completely out of it even though he was directly tied to it. So I just didn't really expect him to be getting in any other drama anytime soon because he avoided that one so well. So he was honestly the last person that I thought would also be in attendance at that TikToker's birthday party with Tana Mojo, but he was there and he was actively posting about it as well. He posted a few photos on his Instagram story of him with some TikTokers at the party, and none of them were wearing masks, and from other footage from the party, it was quite clear there was no, like, distancing, or most people just weren't wearing masks at all, and it was just, in general, quite a mess. I think the reason I was so surprised that James didn't just go to the party but also posted about it so openly is because of just the general ecosystem of the beauty community, if that makes sense. I guess the easiest way to explain this is if I compare him with like a different YouTuber who isn't really in the same space as James. So like, for example, if we compare him to Adeline Morin, I feel like YouTubers who fall in her category where they haven't been in scandals before or any drama, they aren't as conscious about the way that they post because they haven't really gotten into any shit before, so they don't really have to watch out for anyone like watching them, versus YouTubers like James that are a lot more high profile and have been in scandals and drama before, where they're a lot more conscious about what they post because they know that there are tons of channels that are just salivating, waiting for them to fuck up. So I guess the reason I'm so surprised is because you would think that James would be fully aware that if he had posted about being at the party and also posted photos of himself not wearing a mask, that he would know that a ton of channels would pick up on that like immediately. Maybe he's at a point where he just doesn't really care, or maybe it was like a twisted way of like getting exposure or something. I don't know, but what confuses me is that he didn't bother to wear a mask even though he's selling masks as merch. Like, why didn't you just wear your own mask? In terms of ranking, I'm definitely going to put him in the disappointed and actually surprised tier because I cannot believe he avoided that massive drama and then just fell into this. As you guys can probably tell, Larry's birthday party seems to be a very big source as to why a lot of these YouTubers have gotten into shit recently, but it wasn't actually Larry who planned the birthday party himself, it was a different YouTuber. And I'm gonna give you guys a second and a couple clues to guess which YouTuber it was, and it was a beauty guru and someone who is a professional at getting into shit constantly. And I know that doesn't really whittle it down very much, but it's none other than Nikita Dragon. I'm gonna be honest here. I don't know what goes on in this girl's head, but she flat out told all of her followers on her Instagram story that she was the reason that this party was happening, that it was a surprise birthday party for Larry, and it was going to be so big and extravagant, and so many people were going to be there, and she was so excited for it to happen. Like, what? Like, obviously, attending the party is bad. So is planning the party and attending the party. But planning the party, attending the party, and then broadcasting to your millions of followers that you did both of those things. Good God. The thing is, like, the videos that were coming out from this party weren't of people, like, keeping a safe distance from each other or wearing masks. It was footage like this. What is this? Step up? We're in a pandemic! There's video footage of the outside of this party where there are tons of people not wearing masks and people trying to get in who weren't on the list to go in. Like, it wasn't just a gathering inside the party. There was a gathering outside of all the people who weren't actually invited. So you had Larry's birthday party and Larry's not birthday party. People weren't wearing masks or social distancing at either, and that Hollywood Fix guy was there filming these clowns the whole time. So in terms of ranking tiers, I think that we're all probably on the same page when I say that she definitely belongs and that my relevancy solely depends on pissing people off tier. I actually forgot there were 2 more attendees from the party that I wanted to talk about, and they're similar to James in that I was surprised that they went to the party in the first place, let alone posted about it, but even more so than James, I'm surprised because they've been in absolutely no drama and no scandals at all, and the people I'm talking about are the Demilio sisters. I think the reason I was so surprised that the Demilio sisters went to the party and they allowed for photos to be taken of them and posted online is because I feel like their whole like image that they try to put out is very like non-controversial, no drama, very like positive only kind of situation, and I feel like their whole thing is like trying to be very like wholesome role models for their younger audience. So I'm just kind of surprised that they would make this decision because it feels very out of line with what their main kind of moves on social media are, especially considering that I feel like they would have known exactly what the public opinion would have been once people found out that they went to the party. So I feel like considering that, they probably belong beside James in the disappointed and actually surprised tier. Next we have Michelle Phan, who this pains me so much that she's involved in this video, but early on when all the corona stuff was still kind of kicking off, she made some very interesting claims involving essential oils that pissed a lot of people off. What happened was Michelle Phan had actually posted a photo to her Instagram story of like an oil diffuser thing, and she put a caption on it, which I'm gonna read verbatim because I don't want to fuck it up. She said, "Our first point of contact for viruses is our nose. If you're burning antiviral essential oils around you, this will kill off the virus before it enters your system." And she claimed those oils were things like tea tree, lavender oil. I think the other one was like eucalyptus, and was claiming that they were like antiviral oils. The issue is apparently antiviral essential oils do not exist. And she posted this to over 2 million people. Michelle did end up apologizing though, and she clarified that she didn't mean to mislead any people and that the suggestions were just to help build your immune system in general, not actually, you know, kill off coronavirus. Considering the situation definitely falls in the misinformation category, I think that Michelle Phan definitely belongs in the mesh face mask from Etsy tier. Now the final topic for today that we'll be ranking is not a person, but an event. This actually happened a few weeks ago, and initially I thought that this was just one creator's meet and greet based off of a Twitter video that I saw, but then I actually found out this was an entire convention called Creators Live. Before we get into this, I do want to note that technically, because of the state that the convention was held in, this was a legal event, but it just blows my mind that a company would just move forward with this knowing all of the risks. In terms of what this convention was, it was your standard creator convention. There were TikTok stars, more TikTok stars, Peaches was there as a featured creator no less, and I don't know how that was a thing, but it was, and it brought us this video. So this is the video that I actually first saw, and my first thought was, oh my god, why is Peaches having a meet and greet in the middle of a pandemic? And then after I read the rest of the tweet and realized it was part of a convention, I then thought, oh my god, how stupid is this convention? You would think that with the thousands of artists and performers that have canceled their tours and shows in general, that this convention would have followed suit, but for some reason they felt like their convention was so important that they still had to hold it during a pandemic. God forbid these attendees are robbed of their experience of seeing their favorite TikTok e-boys doing the bare minimum on stage. Oh, by the way, masks aren't required. If you want to go sneeze on every attendee, have at it. Here's my thing though. At the end of the day, none of these conventions actually give a shit about the attendees or anything like that. I'm talking about the ones that are shittily run and the ones that are also run decently well. Like, they care about the money that's coming from these conventions. All this like community, helping to connect you with your favorite creator, kumbaya crap that they spin is just them trying to tell you, oh, look at how nice we are that we let you pay us money to meet your favorite YouTuber. Aren't we so nice? Like, at the end of the day, if the money's coming in, they don't give a shit, which is why there's so many situations where like YouTubers will come out and say that they were mistreated at events or conventions, or attendees will say that they didn't get the experience they paid for, and it's because these conventions only care if it like seriously fucks up their image. But what blows my mind about this convention specifically is that they care so little about the attendees, the creators, the people that are working this event, that to their face, they're basically saying, yeah, there's a risk, but we want to make money. Just the idea of like full-grown adults deciding to move forward with the convention and not make masks required and encourage people to come to this event and telling them, oh, it's going to be fine, it's going to be so much fun. It's giving very strong Jeff Bezos light energy. Creators Live was actually the last topic that we had to rank in today's video, so the final ranking is Dixie and Charlie D'Amelio and James Charles in the disappointed and actually surprised tier, Michelle Phan in the mesh face mask from Etsy tier, Adeline Morin in the unchecked superiority complex tier, Creators Live in the Jeff Bezos light tier, and finally Tana Mojo, Jake Paul, and Nikita Dragon in the my relevancy solely depends on pissing people off tier. Anyways, I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, feel free to give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up with my videos, and you can also follow me outside of YouTube on Instagram and Twitter, which are both caseyaonso. I also have a second channel which is more like beauty, lifestyle, vlog kind of content, so if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I'll be linking it down below. But otherwise, I really hope that you guys enjoyed the video. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.